Hey, I have a problem. I mean, it's a cool problem. To me at least. Probably a lot of you can relate to this, but I like collecting guitars. Lately, I've had an affinity for pointy guitars that have a certain flair to them. My favorite among them is probably my Jackson Warrior that I modified recently. If you want to see that video, I will link it down in the description. Here's me all happy with my Warrior. Life is great. Or it was. In the back of my mind, I've always known something was missing. I've received a lot of comments on this channel asking my opinions on the Ibanez Xiphos, which is sort of the arch rival of the Jackson Warrior in a lot of ways. I messed around with one a few times, but it was one of the older versions that came out in the early 2000s. You know what? Let me just fill you in here. The Greek army's core was made up of heavily armed infantrymen called the hoplites. The hoplites were associated with the Xiphos, which was originally made from bronze. I think that's too much context. Let's skip forward. Necrophagist is, or was, no one's really clear on that, a German technical metal band formed in 1990. Focus, Taylor. The Xiphos was not only an ancient Greek sword, but it was also a guitar that was introduced in 2007 and made popular by bands like Necrophagist and All That Remains. At some point around 2009, they started adding more bevels and making them more sleek looking. They also put a much deeper carve in the neck joint, which I appreciate personally. It's very similar to the Jackson Warrior. That is one of my favorite features on that guitar as well, but anyways, back to what I was saying. Then in 2015, they released the Iron Label Xiphos as part of their Commitment to Metal campaign. These guitars really got my attention, probably because I have a thing for flat black guitars, if you can't tell, and it's always been in the back of my mind, but I never really pulled the trigger on one until now. That's why we're here. That's what we're doing today. It doesn't look like it's focused on my face, which is weird. Is it focusing on my face? So I've been watching this Ibanez Xiphos on Facebook Marketplace, which I know, but it's from a pawn shop. I'm just realizing now, saying it out loud doesn't make it sound any better. I casually added this to my watch list, as you do. You know, you don't have any intention on buying the thing, but you just want to put it there and watch it because it sort of in some ways scratches that itch just a little bit. Well, the seller just dropped the price. I think I'm gonna go look at it IRL. You know, having a borderline psychotic gear obsession is expensive, which is why this video is brought to you by Sweetwater and 𝗦𝗦xe. The 𝗦𝗦xe B8 professional wireless system feels like a breath of fresh air to me, someone who has owned the same wireless system that drains 9-volt batteries in half a set for the last 20 years. Well, no more. We don't have to be slaves to batteries. The B8 is a pedal-sized wireless system with an extremely discreet transmitter that is not only rechargeable, but recharges off of the receiver, which is also discreet. I mean, it'll blend right in with the rest of your pedals. The receiver also attaches to the bass magnetically. I feel like that's probably enough said, but wait, there's more. You can adjust the signal to give you a lower latency, as low as 2.5 milliseconds actually, or increase the stability. I left this option in the middle for this video and I didn't notice any latency at all, FYI. It offers a range for up to 165 feet, which is useful if you're playing a festival and you want to climb to the top of the rafters, but I'm afraid of heights, so that's overkill for me. You also have 2/4 inch in and outs if you need to add some more routing to your pedal board's signal path. It also has a built-in volume boost, a built-in tuner, and a built-in cable mode that will replicate the sound of a long cable run for a slightly warmer response if you desire that. All in all, it's just an insanely feature-loaded and compact wireless system. So thank you to Sweetwater and 𝗦𝗦xe for sponsoring this video. There is a link for the B8 in the description and the pinned comment of this video. Let's go use the sponsorship money to buy a guitar. All right, so I'm out here at a pawn shop and check out what I bought. I had a gig bag for it, which is a plus. It's not in bad shape, all things considered. It does have some road rash, a little bit right here, but all the corners are still there. Usually these things are all chipped up. You know, usually these things have chips taken out of the horns. I got a little bit of road rash on the back of the neck there. You know. Okay, so it's Monday. I bought this guitar over the weekend and I plugged it in to check it out real quick, and there's some issues we're gonna have to address in the setup here. I've been kind of waiting all weekend to do this. Definite thing I'm going to have to address here. It looks like someone set this guitar up into a much lower tuning than it's in. At some point, someone tried to tune it up. This is the angle of the Edge Tremolo that comes in this thing. You can see how far it's being lifted, and that actually lifts the strings up as well. I don't know how long it's had this much tension on it. If it was set up for a much lower tuning with thicker strings, which that's kind of what it feels like is going on here, then you know, it's just been sitting with this extra tension on the neck. So I don't really know how that's gonna affect it. Hopefully not much at all. We'll find out when we set it up. It's just really rough around the edges, man. And it's also very dirty. Like, it needs to be cleaned really, really bad. Okay, so here are some close-ups of the before with the guitar. You know, more than anything, this is really dirty and nasty. It just really needs a good scrub. This is pretty worn right here. The black satin finish is really worn. I mean, this just happens. This is normal. You can actually restore the satin finish, but I'm not really gonna worry about that. It doesn't really bother me at all. Going around on the back here, you can see these ones have the deep neck carve. I really like this. More than anything, what I wanna do is I just wanna get it opened up and see what I'm working with here. And, you know, hopefully there's no big surprises or anything nasty. Let's get to it.
I use this block normally to block my Floyd Rose tremolos. That way you can access the screws because they're underneath here. But the screws that hold down the springs for this are up here, so I actually don't need this. It's unnecessary because without it, I can still access the screws that I need to get to tighten the strings down. This is actually the main reason that I prefer the 1000 Pro series from Floyd Rose, because the screws are up here, just like on this. It's like Ibanez figured it out, you know. Smart move. I like this trem system a lot.
You know what? Now that I'm looking at this thing, I'm thinking we should just take the hardware off and just really deep clean this whole guitar because it's pretty nasty. The frets are still really good. The frets look like they have a lot of life left on them, but yeah, there's just a lot of like grime and grossness. I don't know how well I'm going to be able to capture this on camera. This isn't macro lens or anything, but like you could just see how nasty this is. It's just gross. If you have ever played a guitar or bought a guitar, you know, from someone that like smokes inside their house, it gets covered with this like grease. And if this guitar was not a satin guitar, just wiping it down, you would be able to see all that grease coming off the guitar. But it's just, yeah, it's like caked like that. And it doesn't smell like cigarettes or anything like that. When it got taken to the pawn shop, they were like, ugh, this stinks. And so they sprayed some Febreze on it or something and just called it good. I'm just trying to get it back down to no gunk. And yeah, you know, just worth a little bit of effort, I think. All right, so for reference, look how nasty this paper towel is. And I don't even think I got all this stuff off. I think it's going to take a couple more times scrubbing it to actually get whatever's on here off. It's just fucking gross. It looks like I had diarrhea or something. That time the paper towel came back pretty clean, but now it's obviously very, very dry. But you can actually see the wood grain in it now. You know, before it was so dark and just nasty. It's actually really nice looking. I'm gonna use some fast fret on this to oil the board, and I'm hoping that the applicator just gets whatever is left over, whatever little bit. But so far, you know, it feels pretty clean. Feels good. Now I'm gonna clean the body, and I'm just gonna use warm water and a microfiber cloth. Hopefully that gets rid of any gunk, and I don't need to use any like chemicals or cleaners or anything. All right, glad I tried that out first because it worked really well. Pretty much like any weird sort of gunkiness, it's gone off the body, doesn't smell anymore. Okay, got the neck all oiled up. It looks great now, man. It looks so good. But let's measure the neck, yeah, because what else would we be doing right now? Okay, up here at the first fret, just a shade over 19.5 inches. Jesus Christ. 19.5 millimeters at the first fret. 21.5. You know, that's really interesting because that's really in line with Jackson's speed neck profile. And in my experience with Ibanez guitars, the neck profiles are so inconsistent. You kind of never know what you're getting. They will be classified as Wizard 2, Wizard 3, Wizard whatever, what it says, and then the feel in the hand is quite different. And the first time I picked this up, I was like, oh, that's like a Jackson.
Like it feels like Jackson. And so it's really interesting to see that the measurements are in line with that as well. The shape on the back is not as flat as your traditional Ibanez neck, in my experience. It's a little bit more rounded. So, you know, it does feel a lot more in line with the Jackson, you know, take your pick, Jackson speed neck profile.
Yeah, baby! We have the Xiphos plugged into the 𝗦cie𝗰𝗶𝗹 here that is powering this Marshall 4x12 cabinet. It's creambacks and vintage 30s in an X pattern. I'm running this through a Boss Tube amp expander just so I can keep the volume at like a somewhat reasonable level. You can probably see it's still really loud. You can probably see it up there. We're using the 𝗦liche B8 wireless system. I gotta say, man, it's really nice like having no cable right now. Got this little transmitter here. You can see that. I haven't had a new wireless system in nearly 20 years, so this is very cool to me. I feel like I'm stepping into the future finally. But I like the display. I like the readout right there. You know, it's kind of nice. Now you might be asking yourself, why am I plugged into this amp and this? It's very simple. What I'm trying to do with this guitar is gauge whether or not this is like filling some sort of hole that I have in my collection, and my soul for that matter. I'm seeing if it's something I want to keep, if it's something that really does vibe with me. And the best way to do that is just to plug into other things that I know I love. That's why I chose this amplifier here, because like, man, it's just, this amplifier is so brutal. We do have something that like I'm not really familiar with at all, and if you are, let me know your opinions down in the comments below. These pickups versus the EMGs, these are the deactivators. So deactivators versus EMG 81, thoughts, opinions down there? I don't know, I'm gonna get out my Warrior here for a few different reasons, one of which being the pickup comparison, but the gain is a little less tight, like the gain structure is a little more fuzzy sounding. But I'm probably splitting hairs here, I think it's fine. Speaking of the pickups, let's do a clean pickup sound check. If I remember how to turn this amp on clean. I never used this amp on clean. What the fuck am I? Ooh, these sound very good clean. Middle position, which is both of them. And the neck pickup. My preliminary thoughts on this is that these pickups sound a lot better clean than my EMGs. Does that matter? I don't know. Are you playing clean tones? They're just chungus bungus tones all the time? I'm pretty much chungus bungus tones all the time. Oh, I'm out of tune a little bit. I need to tune here. I think I have this set up if I just hit the yeah. I like this strobe tuner. I actually use, look, it's right here. I've been using this one on my guitar forever, and it's like, if you can see that, it's like the same thing. It's kind of, why am I pointing that out? Does anyone care about that? I have no idea, but I just think it's kind of cool. Cool. Another thing that's kind of weird about this guitar to me is the body's made out of Nyatoh. I always f this word up, but I noticed this with the 𝗦cie𝗰𝗶𝗹 Jackson as well, and I had no point of reference for it, but now I do, playing this guitar Also, it feels quite a bit different, man. Okay, I don't know what my problem here is in this video, but I got my wood species mixed up. This guitar as well as the 𝗦cie𝗰𝗶𝗹 Jackson are both made out of Okoume. Also later on when I say basswood, I know it's basswood. You don't have to correct me in the comments, although you can if you want. I make jokes all the time in my videos about possibly having early onset dementia, but 19.5 inches. I don't know, this could be my own paranoid delusion, but the wood feels more mid-rangey, spongy almost, I guess. If you tried to bend it, it would just bend more than it would snap, if that makes sense. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? I don't even know what I'm talking about right now, but that's just my perception of it. I'm curious, for those of you out there that are really wood experts, let me know if I'm just crazy or if that's an actual thing. I actually like this Ibanez bridge quite a bit. I remember this from my Prestige S series as well. I really liked that tremolo also, but these Edge tremolos are really cool, man. They're really underrated. I feel like I did buy a new arm for it. This was like 30 bucks or something, like 40 bucks, something ridiculous. But you know, it sits in there nice, it tightens down, it stays in place. It's really solid, dude. It's a solid tremolo. Ibanez Edge tremolos are very underrated. Okay, let's check the neck dive here real quick. A little bit, you know, really not much. It's really not that bad. It's almost like it dives into the correct playing position. Okay, I want to plug in this guitar's arch nemesis, the Jackson Warrior. Are they enemies? I don't know. Maybe they're friends. Yeah, so I would say the Xiphos sounds a lot more bitey. The body's scooped out a little bit. And the other thing is just the feeling of the guitar itself. And again, I'm really curious because I'm not a wood species expert. I don't know a lot about various wood types or whatever, but this is a basswood guitar. If I remember correctly, it's got like basswood wings and like a maple center. And this guitar feels denser when I'm playing it. Again, maybe I'm just suffering the early stages of dementia, but this guitar just feels denser. I don't know. And I wanted to pick up this guitar again before I commented on this because the feeling difference of playing these two guitars. But in the hands, the Jackson does feel slightly flatter and the Ibanez feels a little bit more rounded, I would say. That's a personal preference thing. One's not better than the other. They're both extremely comfortable to play. I kind of prefer the speed neck profile a little bit more, if I'm being honest. A little tiny margin. Hardly anything at all. Now to answer the question, the premise of this whole video, am I having a transformative experience with the Xiphos? Kind of am. I really like having that thing next to this one, and I don't think that I could pick one over the other. I've got my reference in with this guitar. I will say though, back to the woods on these things, this guitar does feel significantly lighter, if that matters to you. This is a really cool guitar. I wasn't sure if I was gonna keep it when I started making this video, but I think I am going to keep it. I think I'm gonna give myself a while to acclimate to it, but I really like this guitar a lot. I really enjoy it. I think it looks cool as fuck. You know, whether this is cool or not is a very subjective thing, but to me, this is a very cool guitar. And it's also just kind of inspiring. It just makes me wanna play it when I look at it. That's always a huge benefit of buying a new guitar. You know what I mean? Fuck yeah. This video was a lot of fun to make. Shout out to 𝗦cie and Sweetwater for making it possible, but more importantly, shout out to you guys for being here with me. I really appreciate every single one of you. Of course, if you like this video, make sure to hit the like button. If you really like what I do here on this channel, consider subscribing or being massively overpowered and joining these wonderful people over here on Patreon, where you get behind the scenes access to these videos, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.